Hey, this week it's the heartwarming story behind the creation of a Christmas classic. Hi, I'm Mark, your host. And on our channel, we often take a look at the spark that ignites a creative project or the process behind it. And whether you look at Christmas time as obnoxious or it's a sad time of the year for you, I think you're really going to be encouraged by today's real-life story. Imagine, if you can, growing up in a wealthy Jewish New York family who unfortunately loses everything during the Great Depression. Then in the 1930s, you move to Chicago and take a low-paying job at Montgomery Ward department stores as an advertising copywriter. You dream of writing a novel someday, but instead you crank out descriptions of catalog items. And sadly, in 1937, your wife contracts cancer. In the midst of survival mode, your boss comes to you and asks you to write a cheery little story to give away to children of Christmas shoppers at the department stores. Your only requirement is to make the main character an animal due to the popularity of another children's book released about a year earlier about a friendly bull named Ferdinand. You're familiar with C. Clement Moore's 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, and it mentions reindeer, and your 4-year-old daughter Barbara loves the reindeer at the Lincoln Park Zoo in Chicago. So you go with reindeer, drawing on character inspiration from the Ugly Duckling and a little bit of your childhood as an underdog yourself. As you're working on character development one day, you look out from the window at Montgomery Ward and you see this dense, thick fog rolling into Chicago off Lake Michigan. And you come up with this idea that the reindeer can have a bright red nose like a searchlight for Santa to help him find his way. Well, you see where this is going by now, right? This is a story about the creativity of catalog description writer Robert Louis May, who developed the character of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Tragically, in 1939, May's wife did lose her battle with cancer in the midst of him writing this story, but he insisted on finishing the project. And with a little help from an illustrator in the Montgomery Ward Art Department, Denver Gillen, the book was approved and distributed. Within the first year, 2.4 million copies were given away. Robert May actually only earned his meager salary for creating the story because he was an employee of Montgomery Ward, and meantime he was drowning in debt from his late wife's medical bills. Fortunately, in 1947, Montgomery Ward's president generously donated the story rights to Robert May, and shortly after, 3.6 million additional copies were distributed. Then Robert enlisted the help of his brother-in-law, Johnny Marks, to come up with the song for Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer that we know today. It was first performed by country star Gene Autry as a B-side on an album, and it actually became the #1 smash hit of 1949, selling millions of copies. May actually wrote 2 more sequels to the original Rudolph story, and I think we've all seen either an animated or a stop-motion Christmas special with Rudolph, or tons of merchandise with the likeness of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. You see, owning those story rights was such a blessing because Robert May was able to pay off all of that crushing medical debt and to support his family. And he got to do the type of creative writing that he always wanted to do beyond just writing catalog item descriptions. To pull all this off, Robert May just drew from the inspiration around him, and he persisted through tragedy. And the result was that both he and Rudolph truly did go down in history. Links to photos of Robert Louis May and interviews with him, as well as a reading of the original draft of the story, can be found in the description below this video. I think you'll find it fascinating, the subtle differences between the story and the popular song that we know. That'll do it for this very special Christmas episode. Please be sure to leave me a comment below or subscribe and share our channel. I'm Mark, and we'll see you next time on Your Creative Brief.